Hello and welcome back to The Letter. Last time was a pretty big episode. Ashton and Marianne successfully escaped from the dungeon. Um, and we found out some big reveals like Johannes is a killer. I told you from day one, maybe. But he did kind of imply that Luke is also in on it because he kind of referenced him as the bratwurst. Until we see it, I'm still gonna be skeptical. But maybe Luke is actually a bad guy. Feels bad, man. But before Johannes could kill Ashton, Isabella came with the taser, which I assume she just got from Mary Ann. So pretty happy about that. And yeah, we knocked out him. We saw like a weird image of the blonde chick crying. So I'm kind of understanding what's happening because it looks like the woman that was like beating beating the shit out of, like torturing the slave girl because I think she had an affair with her husband, and maybe that's her being locked up. But also, I mean, it kind of made sense because they also kind of talked about how, like, Johannes asked where's the madam, which means that they must have locked her up too. But but um but maybe I was thinking maybe the slave girl had the child of old time Luke, right? And that was the child of them being tortured by the mother. Maybe just some theories. But yeah, let's continue. We're in a pretty tense moment, and it's been a while. I mean, it won't be a while for anyone watching, but it's been like 20 days since I played, so I just had to say all that just to remember what happened. But I am now refreshed. We're in the room with Isabella, and Johannes is knocked out. Somewhere in front of me, my oxygen-deprived brain vaguely registers Isabella's form. She slumps on the floor, also breathing heavily. Right next to her trembling hands, both the taser and the rolling pin lie useless and forgotten, while the mood in the room eases. A long, gradual process of tension lifting. For countless seconds, we remain quiet, with only our short gasps and sighs to fill the silence, allowing the adrenaline ebb away and both our breathing to slow. Not a true response by any means, but simply a brief respite. There's still the curse. We're still inside the mansion, in immediate, imminent danger. We still have no idea how to fix this. Outside, the rain seems to only intensify. Lightning flashes, fleeting somewhere, white and piercing, and the sky rumbles. Oops. No rest for the wicked. I stir first once recovered, having regained some semblance of sense and strength. Breathing still hurts, but it's bearable, as is moving, although every small motion causes a wince. There will be bruising tomorrow. I can manage. Retrieving my gun from under the bed is easy, but only with some effort I am able to drag an unconscious man to the far end of the room, snapping one end of a handcuff on his wrist while fastening the other on the bed frame. That should keep him restrained for a few hours in case he wakes up prematurely. All through this, Isabella stays quiet. In fact, she hasn't even moved since. Her hands still shake, and taking long draws of breath while she stares vacantly in front of her, almost as if she's in shock. Perhaps she isn't even expecting any result, spurred only by some kind of desperation. Now it's sinking in. Unfortunately, we need to get moving. We don't have time to wait for everything to register in our heads. Kneeling in front of her, I gave her a light shake.
Belle, we need to go. We can't stay here.
Not even gonna ask what's happening. How's she here? Slowly she turns, staring at me with wide eyes, worry flickers briefly in them along with something ineffable. Then, without any warning, she lifts a hand, slap, and slaps me right across the face. Ooh. Oh, it's my song, bro. I miss this song. The absolute banger of The Letter. I don't think any song's gonna top that. Unless they pull something at the end of the game. Oh, this is such a good thumbnail. Please let me use it. There's been like so many thumbnails recently though. The sound of it cracks the air, shattering the silence like a fragile glass breaking. Despite the familiar rumble of the outside, it manages to ring louder above the storm. I don't even know what hit me until my head has already snapped back and my cheek stings with her anger. And it is anger. In spite of the stillness and lack of words afterwards, not fuming though, never fuming, but the kind that burns lightly and soundlessly. A frustration instead of a seething rage. One that ebbs just as quickly as it flows, and once the tide subsides, there's only that gleam in her eyes, warm, steadfast, and unflinching. Quietly I brace myself for the truth underneath that gaze. It slips from her lips softly, nearly fading under the sound of the rain still falling fast, if not for the weight in each of her words.
What is wrong with you?
Belle,
If Zach didn't slip up, no one would have known where you went.
Belle, one person knowing is enough. Any more than that, and
True?
You almost died.
That is also true. We were probably screwed without Isabella.
He could have suffocated you right then and there, and you could have died.
I told Zach to give me 4 hours. That would have been enough time to.
It would have been too late.
True?
And by the time anyone ever finds out, you're already fertilizer.
Your ass is grass, dude. She trails off Drade's one in breath. She trails off Drade's one in drawn breath after another. A brief lull of her frustration finally gives, dissolves into something more pensive and somber. Her shoulders droop, and through her voice rises hoarse and weary. In her next words, there's only certainty.
You count too, you know? When I said that night, when I told you that I don't want to lose anyone anymore, that includes you. Alive. We're still here, Ash. You have us.
Yes, I know. Don't remind me of the resin. And once their meaning fall, roar, it does not with the force of a dam breaking or a raging storm, but with the gentle, steady warmth of a hearth burning, an ember easily, slowly, lightly rising and giving, until all that's left is a truth, an understanding. Not alone. Never alone. New journal just dropped. Having recovered, Ashton quickly urged Isabella to move, knowing it wasn't safe to stay idle. Without warning, however, Isabella slapped him, furious at him for keeping people in the dark. She reminded him of what was important, and with it came a realization about himself. It lingers even as we both drift back into silence, and her words take root. Because in the gratitude that swells after is another warmth blooming. Pleasant, welcoming, like finding home, like finding ourselves in the haze a squall has left, creating something fragile yet immutable in both of us. It's in her eyes, the way she holds my gaze, unwavering, and the way she carries herself despite sitting amidst a place she fears. In the way she keeps herself from trembling and falling apart, because fear is inconsequential when people she cares about are at risk. Dude, I feel so good. It's been so long since I read a visual novel. I feel like I'm on my A game right now. A change. It's good to take a break, I guess. She realizes that now. Holds on to it. Another little thing. Another small thing from her that may go unnoticed and pass by quietly, but will eventually amount to a lot of things. Tiny gestures that mean nothing at first, but begin to matter to me one day until... Oh. Despite myself, a small smile slips from my lips as the same warmth from earlier unfurls in my chest. Unhurried, familiar, and bright from all these years I've carried it, but I've never given the words for it.
Stop smiling like that, Ashton. I'm not done scolding you.
Can't help it. But this time they come easy.
I heard all of it. Don't worry.
Are you really okay? that guy hit you a little too hard on the head. Here, let me...
Oops. I reach up just as she extends a hand towards my face, catching her wrist in a light grip, drawing it closer and folding her hand in between mine. Although her expression does shift into mild confusion, she does not pull away like I'm expecting. She simply stares at me, searching. For her to allow a gesture from me that's perhaps too close, it tells a lot how far things have already shifted in the past few years. Cradled in mine, her hand still trembles. Most of the tremors have already subsided by now, though I doubt it'll fade away this soon. Even as I trace the lines in her palms, in what I hope is a comforting gesture. So I keep right-clicking.
For what? Is this about what happened tonight? You can apologize later when...
No, well, this too, but it's not just about this. It's for a lot of things.
Ooh, ASMR.
For calling you clumsy
I like it.
and careless and a scatterbrain.
Are you sure this isn't a confession?
You would think that, wouldn't you?
Well, you don't usually apologize.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that too. For all the times I've teased you and made you cry.
Unexpectedly, her fingers tighten around mine, our hands falling between us as something tender shifts in the air. Another exhale. Another drawn breath eases out of me, filled with every hesitation and uncertainties. But when I finally choose to break silence, it's only when I know that what will slip past my mouth is the one truth I will hold against the world.
But for all those callous words,
It's getting more intense.
despite all those,
Ah!
there's nothing about you.
You're insane, Ashton. You almost died and you're doing this right now. I love it. Jesus, I die from embarrassment too. Look at his face.
In fact, those things, I love those. And everything.
Oh my god. I did not expect a confession coming from the scene that just happened.
Everything that's you.
For a long moment, she offers no response. Her grip on my hands merely tightens. Although my heart's pounding hard against my ears, I take a chance and look up. Dude, imagine if we didn't get that relationship bar matched. What would... Maybe she would just reject you. Slightly leaning away and giving her a cautious glance, more than ready to hear her rejection. Aww. Instead, I find her on the brink of tears with an almost unreadable expression on her face. When she notices my eyes on her, she hastily reaches up and wipes it with the back of her hands. It does not keep them from falling, and soon they trail down her cheeks, despite her best attempts. To say this is panic shooting right up at the base of my throat is a complete understatement. This isn't how I expected this to go.
Hey, Belle, did I say something wrong?
Bro, I just beat the shit out of a guy and you're confessing your love to me.
Why would you? I don't even have anything.
Aww.
What?
I don't have anything. I'm not rich. I live off instant noodles almost every day. I can't do anything properly without someone helping me. Except maybe if it's drawing, but that's beside the point. I didn't even get to graduate, even if I was so close. I'm not even sure that scholarship will get me anywhere. And ever since I came here, in the 5 years you've known me, I've got us into all kinds of trouble. So why would you even say that? I'm not...
Maybe it's the moment itself that spurs me on to do it. Obviously, this is the time for a hug. The desperation, the fear of almost dying. That I've already said more than what I usually allow myself, and I might as well finish before I lose my nerve. Oh, actually, a kiss. No matter the reason, I reach out for her. Gently, so unlike the way she barged into our lives so many years ago. The way she came in would leave a terrible impression on anyone, really, and yet... Yet it's people like her that don't easily forget. It's them that gradually worms their way into a person's life until the very thought of losing them becomes unbearable. Isabella trails off once my palms brushes against her tears and string sheets, but neither does she pulls away nor pushes my hand off. Okay, not a kiss? Maybe? I don't know. Rather, she looks at me wide-eyed with another searching look. We're brushing her tears off. I only have one answer for that.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, I misread the situation. Oops.
All of that is still you. That's enough for me.
No promises, only truths. Perhaps the only genuine thing I can offer at the moment. We don't even know what will happen or if we'll ever survive this. So instead of words, I lean in our foreheads, briefly touching, before brushing my lips tenderly against hers. Okay, dude. I like the slap one, but you gotta know with the kiss, man. Are you kidding me? God damn. The kiss is nothing intimate by any means. There's a brief second our lips touch when she tenses, unsure. A long moment of not knowing what to do with her hands until she settles them on me. Johannes is just watching in the background. Slipping it up my arm in the light grip, too afraid to make a mistake or hurt. But for now, it's enough. It's the closest we can come to it. Rather than give out empty promises or grand proclamations, we have this. Something she soon understands as her shoulders ease and she permits me to draw her closer, deepening the kiss instead of words. Softly and gently, a short second of simply allowing the world to melt away around us, and this to roar above anything else. Like every little thing between us that has built up to this single one point in time. A moment that becomes ours and ours alone. Something to hold close until all of this is over. We part later to the sound of the world rushing back around us. Thunder, rain, and lightning, all to remind us both of a reality we have to face. Enough to dampen the mood and force back the worry I've temporarily forgotten. Yet when I glance back to Isabella, all she has for me is the small smile, bright and hopeful. You journal? You're kind of ruining the mood, but it's okay. Understanding how much she also meant to him, Ashton took both of her hands in his and apologized, and in a rare moment of honesty confessed what he truly felt for her, the one truth he would always hold against the world. And it is strength enough. One that I try to draw from, when I rest my forehead against hers one last time before leading us both out, her hand in mine. Power still hasn't come back when we make our way downstairs. Tricky, considering the stairs to the attic are a bit old. One misstep and anyone might end up slipping and falling. You're lucky if that'll happen to you. With the stairs this steep, a broken neck is a likely outcome. Thankfully, Isabella's here to guide me through the darkness. She knows this place better than anyone, after all, in spite of all the misfortune it has brought to us.
Careful, the floorboards over there aren't very sturdy.
Right on cue, the same board I'm stepping on creaks and suddenly breaks, the pieces falling somewhere with a dull thunk.
Oh shit. Scumbag wouldn't be too happy about that. Ow, my foot.
See? I told you so. You never listen to me.
Haha.
They renovated the whole mansion and they can't even replace one tiny part of the house.
Why don't you file a complaint to BRC then? I'm sure they'd be thrilled to hear it. You know it was such a rush job.
Outside, the winds have intensified. Even from here, I can hear the gusts battering the window in the attic. It makes you wonder why, up until now, the only person we've encountered from this house is the butler. Although to some degree, that made sense. He is in charge of running the place. Where are the other servants, though? In this storm, wouldn't anyone want to stay inside? A likely assumption is they're all asleep. The route I've taken doesn't really pass by the rooms they've likely assigned as the servants' quarters, However, they have also heightened security. I brushed it off earlier, thinking they'll be posed a lot closer to where the master's rooms are, but the second floor is devoid of anyone as well. As if every inhabitant of this place had suddenly disappeared overnight. More importantly, where's that scumbag? I don't like this. I don't like this at all. The fact that we're here right in the fucking middle of it makes me all the more queasy. And that feeling only escalates once we reach the landing and Isabella swings the door open. She pauses abruptly in the doorway that I almost run into her, a look of confusion in her as she looks wildly around the place, wordlessly taking in her surroundings. With each turn and shift of her eyes, her shoulders only grow tenser, and a look of apprehension slowly dawns on her. Marianne's gone.
Isabella, what are you...
We aren't supposed to be here.
Sure enough, when I look up, we're standing right in the kitchen, pots, pans, and all. Oh, nice. The Danes is here for the final battle. In one corner, Zach and Rebecca watches almost as surprised to see us. Mikala is also with them, of course. Of course she didn't listen to me, even if I've already exceeded the 15 minutes we've agreed on. Although color and strength seems to have already returned to her, enough for her to be able to stand unassisted. The empty plate on the counter appears to have played a part on that. Good news, I guess. As for the other two, however, relieved as I am that they've had the sense to wait and not venture deeper into the mansion, I can't help but roll my eyes at the both of them.
Zach, I said 4 hours.
I know, but Isabella asked and...
Come on, bro.
You're not a very good liar.
And it didn't even occur to you to stop her?
We all tried, all right? She was out the door before we could say anything.
And how did you guys even get in here?
Yeah. All three of them exchange a look. One that I absolutely don't like. In the end, it's Isabella who speaks up, albeit with a bit of hesitation.
We heard someone scream, Ash. It led us here.
Without warning, the door behind us slams shut.
We need to get out of here.
Yeah, someone just closed the door. Screw right. I need to get these people out of here. Luckily, we're in the kitchen and we have two ways out. The back door and the cellar offers. Except the hatch won't budge when I pull at it, and neither does the back door, as if something has locked it firmly on the other side. Zach also gives it a few tries, but even with the big guy's strength, it won't open. There's a long bout of silence in which we all simply look at each other, likely sharing the same thoughts. We're trapped. Something or someone has intentionally led us here. Fuck. In that same moment, once realization dawns in, something shifts again. Uh-oh. Kyoko! Blood? In every nook and cranny, over every surface and every inch of the floor. Dude, journals are dropping like crazy. Together, Ashton and Isabella carefully made their way downstairs. However, instead of a hallway, the kitchen greeted them instead. Before they could understand what's happening, a slam shut behind them and the whole mansion started to shift. Oh, I didn't even pick that up. I thought they were surprised to see Zach and Rebecca. But apparently the mansion's shifting altogether, eh? Okay. That's why they were so surprised. In every nook and cranny, over every surface and in every inch of the floor. The house is alive! This time, unlike the first one I've seen, it remains, and gradually the whole room begins to reek of that familiar metallic scent, sharp, suffocating. Around us, every object, including the cupboards, have started to rattle as well. The sound from outside, foreboding rumble of thunder, and even the howling winds have begun to fade away, replaced by whispers, shouts, and cries of pain. Though inaudible, each beat and note bombards every crevice my head with vague images and sounds. It's not a good sentence. There's no time to make sense of everything, however. I'm already shouting, fueled purely by adrenaline, barking orders and making a break for the door that leads to the next room, the dining. It should take us straight to the foyer where the main door is.
Move! Run!
Right in front of us, the mansion has started to change and we're in the thick of it. However, instead of the dining room like it's supposed to open to, bedroom. The bedroom welcomes us instead. And an image that lasts only a second, but blood begins to seep into the room, filtering into the walls, trickling from every nook and cranny. Everywhere furniture shakes and every beam rattles. Before we can even step back from the horror gradually unfolding in front of us, the door slams shut. A loud thud bringing a sense of dread and chill creeping up in each of us. Along with it is another realization. The whole place is reordering itself. With the door closed tight behind us, showing no signs of budging, even through sheer force. There's no choice but to go forward, and hope to all gods that it'll lead us to an exit. Until running is the only thing we can do, spurred by nothing but fear and a sense of desperation to live.
It's useless, Ashton Frey.
But with each room we pass, it only becomes apparent that the house has no intention of letting us leave. It lured us, all of us here, and we've fallen for it. Now it's playing a little game with us, a sordid form of amusement. For whom? Their laughters are the only thing we can hear. With every hall we cross and door we slide open, the hope of finding an exit merely dwindles. The gun at my hips is useless here. I am useless here. Some fucking genius I am. Some fucking person to trust I am. All of those, they mean nothing in the face of the unknown.
You finally figured it out, huh, Ashton Frey? Just give it up. All of them will eventually die because of you.
Nope.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Sorry, I skipped the laugh. Come on, you gotta show the laugh, man. Yeah, shut your fucking mouth, ghost.
All of it. It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word, because you're already aware of it. You can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
But no matter how hard you try, you're not going to be able to save anyone.
The more gruesome the place turns, the bleaker our chances simply get. Wails and screams fill our ears as we pass by, words from a time and people long gone, laced with nothing but pure agony, calling out, reaching out to us. Their voices almost too real, as if we're not the only ones trapped here, that there are others begging for a release from this wretched place. Or maybe it's all just a show? A taste of what we will eventually be, souls forever held captive in a never-ending nightmare.
Mother, I've done it, Mother. Take me with you, please. Still hear her. She's here. Help me! Help me, please!
From the last scene, from last episode. Is this what the curse is? What it means for all of us? That the letter, not a morbid cry for help, but an invitation? Yep. A beckoning for unsuspecting souls to be dragged into this place's horrors? To be put under centuries and centuries of torment and agony? Suddenly, dying a painful death seems preferable, enticing than ending up here, living a tortured existence. Or perhaps it's all the same? Still, hope worms its way into me, not a usual thing for someone like me. But after going through countless doors and corridors, every little sign of hope I'm willing to cling to, as long as it'll get us out of here. We're back in the dining room again. How long have we been running? How long since we've left the kitchen? At some point, I've lost track of time. With the windows bared tight and the sounds lifting in the air, nothing but shouts and shrieks, it's impossible to tell. Not that it matters when an end is in sight. Shelves and furnishing bars the door, each stained with blood and gore. And if the situation isn't as desperate as it is, I'll find a different way out. I mean, I talked about it in the review, but it took me a while to realize that since this is like an English game, like without like a Japanese, it's not a translated game. It feels much more like a actual book than a visual novel normally does. But it's cute. I like it. But there's still a gap left at the topmost part of a person to go through, as long as you use the shelves to climb.
It's next it all right.
Yeah, just fucking pull the chairs out of the way. From here I can spy the familiar walls of the foyer. Only relief washes over me. Although my legs have been strained taut by all the running, and every bone and muscle in my body ache, there's only an easing. A sense of tension, reliving, while energy backflows through me again at the sight of an end. No sooner I am leading us out of it. Zack and McCullough first, assisting her up the way through the gap, before giving a hand to both Rebecca and Isabella. The moment the ladies are in, I nod for him to go through.
Go ahead. I'll watch your back.
Oh no, bad feeling? Surprisingly, he does that without any protests. Not that there's any need to. Sometime after entering the room, the whole place has calmed down. No wails, no whispers, just a silence too deafening. But I'm not letting my guard down until everyone on the other side of this nightmare safe. For all I know, this may be the calm before another storm. Without any further incident, however, Zack makes it to the other side and I'm following after him. However odd this hush is, I turn my back from it and climb up. It's a tight fit, but I manage to squeeze myself in. The unease remains, though. Maybe it's the adrenaline still coursing through me, or how easy everything has been after living through that nightmare, fleeting as it is. But for some reason, something's still nagging at me. Call it a detective's instinct, or my training or whatnot, but I have a feeling something's going to happen and catch us unprepared. Unconsciously, before drowning down on the better side of the stream, my hand shifts to the gun at my hip. Instinct has never failed me before. Okay, we made it to the foyer.
Had I known there would be a
Oops.
party in home tonight, I would have opened a bloody bottle or two.
Loot, don't do this to me. I love you, buddy. My feet hadn't even landed firmly on the floor when. Loot, you're actually a bad guy?
People these days, in my own home, can you believe it? I feel so left out.
A chill seeps into every vein of my body. All of a sudden, every ache, every pain returns to me tenfold, and my knees threaten to buckle at the sound of his voice. Though it appears friendly, I know it is anything but. One does not spend investigating a man like him for over a year and holding a grudge against him for more without knowing everything about him. His quirks, his habits, I'm familiar with all of them. And right now, Luke fucking Wright is beyond pissed. Shifting my gaze upwards is nearly too painful knowing the danger. Not to me, but to those who have been lured in here by the curse. What the fuck? What is happening? Luke? I thought we were friends. Rebecca's fucking pissed. The hand catches my eyes first. Or the handgun catches my eyes first. Next to that, smarmy smile on his face while he holds McCullough, Zack, Rebecca, and Isabella at gunpoint. It's sight enough to lodge a painful thorn down my throat. I've been too complacent, too focused on other things that I've completely set aside the fact that Stoneblade will not be too pleased to see us here without knowing our reasons. But even with those good intentions, curses and ghostly apparitions aside, we're still trespassing in his home. Question is, if he's even aware the whole of his household has somehow disappeared, and he might be the only one here. Likely not. Fuck. Even with people he knows among the crowd, there's a significant effort in him not to simply shoot everyone in sight. Luke, please.
And really, Daisy, even you, what would Kylie say?
Luke, this isn't what you're thinking. You have to listen to us. There's something going on here.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home?
I mean, to be fair, like maybe Luke actually isn't a bad guy because he's, you know, people are strangers in the night. He probably heard people running around and he got his gun. I mean, copium. You know, Johannes was a little sketchy, but.
What about little Lily over there, then?
Who? Isabella?
What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is? Oh, we're doing good, by the way.
Sir, please.
Yeah, where's your wife, by the way?
Please, what?
Becca's right, sir. We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Tut, not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight.
Tut.
Don't worry. I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman.
Thank you. True gentleman.
Can't say the same for the rest of you. But really now, I swear the people of this city need to be taught the meaning of privacy.
We did see earlier in the novel that Luke did. Like when Marianne, he asked Marianne if he saw any strange people here too, so maybe he's like thinking people's been snooping on him too. I mean, you know, he's a celebrity. He's probably like super like aware of people snooping on him. Aiden, stop defending Luke. I won't.
This is how you want
He's
to
my
start the
boy.
week? Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
Casually, he waves the handgun at them as if it's just a mere toy and his words are no threat. The safety is off on his, nothing stopping him from pushing through with his words. Call me paranoid, but at the slight gesture, I draw my own and level at him, finger on the trigger ready to release the safety catch in case things go south. Based. Oh my god, there's so many good thumbnails. I can't go with the kissing one. It's also kind of a spoiler, but this, come on, what is this, bro? Look at this. I love that, actually. And let's such a badass. After a long, desperate run in search of a way out, the house calmed down for some reason, and Natsat was finally in sight, waiting on the other side. However, look at this. He has quit to train his own on me, though. Just like what just like that, we're on a standstill.
Now, Feathers. Manners.
Feathers.
You're in
Cute.
no position to be pointing that gun at people.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back. The gall. You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Shooting him right now would be so worth it, with the way he stares at me like I'm a damn pest. But this isn't what I've come here for. I'm not a murderer. As much as I loathe him, I'm not the kind who will kill people in cold blood for my own gain or amusement. The law will bring him what he deserves one of these days. At the moment, however, we're all in the same boat with this curse, and he needs to understand that. The longer we stand here, the more time we're wasting and losing, something we don't have much of. But how can I convince him? This scum is so full of himself, prefers to hear the sound of his own voice more than those of the people around him, no matter how much sense they make. Probably the only way I can make him listen is if I beg. No way in hell that's happening. Maybe I should just eliminate the immediate danger first and disarm him? Oh, I hate this. I'm going for the bed. I'm going for the bed. My life's not the only one at risk here ever. I feel like, yeah, why risk disarming him? That's crazy. You're both literally like standing right next to each other, pointing guns at each other. There's Zach. There's Rebecca. There's Isabella. McCullough's here as well. We're all unknowing victims to this fucking curse. I'm in no position to pick who to save and who I should simply let die. I suppose my pride can take a few hits and I can set aside my beef with this asshole. Taking a deep breath slowly, I lower my pistol. Like a man. Thank you, Ashton. Though still on the edge and not ready, in case he does something, I do my best to assume a less aggressive stance.
Listen, right. I need you to...
Swallowing your pride.
You broke into my house, and somehow, you expect me to listen like a good little boy. Are you a bit touched in the head, Feathers? I'm not the one breaking laws here.
Look here, fucker. If I wanted you dead, I could have done it so many times already.
Fucker.
In fact, I can easily shoot you down right here, right now. And you won't be able to do a damn thing, even with that gun.
Sudden he laughs, almost howling in fact, like I've just told him the best joke he's heard all his life. The only thing missing is for him to kneel over and start rolling around the floor, all while doing my best not to sock him in with the sorry end of my pistol.
You have guts, Feathers. You have guts. Did you hear what you just told me? You've just threatened me inside my own house. My own home. You know what I'm thinking right now? In another lifetime, we would have probably gotten along well.
Oh, dude, you know what would be hilarious? They probably won't do that. What if they pull like a Fata Morgana and you get the full backstory of Kyoko? You go back in time and see that all of these people were connected in a previous life, aka doing a Fata. I call that a Fata Morgana because they did it, but that'd be fun. That was a good meme. He's right on that, at least. I might have ended up like him if I didn't have Professor Andrew, Rebecca, Zach, and Isabella. One mistake and it would have been too late for me. With his laughter ruins all those possibilities I could have lived, but have never been given the choice. All because I have other people with me. People who care. A sobering realization. But not so much when suddenly his chuckling stops. In 2 heartbeats, he marches towards me, grabs my collar, and aims his gun right at my head.
Luke, no!
We got all the people.
Hey, now you two, I'm sure we can all talk about this first.
At this distance, a slight flick of that finger on the trigger will be able to do more than kill me.
What is it that you people really want with me? This is the second time this week, and I'm really getting weary of this little
Ooh.
game.
Something happened.
Did the NCA send you to apprehend me, or has somebody paid you off to kill me?
Okay, so he's not like feeding the curse or something. Based Luke. Okay, I love it.
Which one is it, Feathers? Mind you, my arm's getting tired. Better answer quick.
He's just defending his property. He's just defending his property. It's his right as a homeowner. Based. My boy Luke. I keep my eyes trained on him, in spite of the huge threat he poses right now, because there's anything people like him, like us, prefer, it's honesty. You don't give that impression without keeping a solid eye contact.
I'm not with NCA. I'm just here to help. There's something else in this house, and we're all in danger. You have to believe me, right? You need to let us go. You need to get out of here before it's too late. If you want to keep your sorry ass alive, you'll listen to people with more brain cells than you.
Lol.
Why, you insolent!
His finger moves, but I am prepared, my hand ready to reach up, disarm him, and knock him out. If I have to drag him out of this place unconscious to keep him from suffering the fates of every other person who has died from this curse, so be it. However, before either of us can fire a shot or tackle the other to the ground, another voice echoes throughout the foyer. A small little thing compared to the storm raging outside. It rings above it, nevertheless causing all of us to stop and turn. What the fuck? Hannah and Kyoko. Holy shit. Ooh, that's cool too. On the top of the staircase, Hannah Wright stands. To make matters worse, that thing's behind her, menacing, a rotting hand wrapped firmly around her neck. She looks like death. Pale and shaky, eyes red with tears, we nearly don't hear her as she pleads.
Help me. Please.
Outside, another streak of lightning flashes and a clap of thunder ripples across the sky. As if this whole thing can't get any more foobar than it already is. Oh my god, journal. Please. I love the journals, but this is way too intense for them. But we gotta keep up. In spite of the danger, Luke Wright posed at the moment. Ashton lowered his gun and assumed an imploring tone towards the man he hated. Amidst the tense air, a voice suddenly echoed in the foyer. There at the top of the grand staircase stood Hannah Wright. It's over! Oh, the talk block. A glimmer of hope. Journal updates. To say what I'm scared of, what's happening is a gross understatement. Anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that. Ashton's route was another banger, of course. Very happy to be back into that. Was such a crazy episode, man. Lots of good CGs. That's how you end a route. But yeah, we're gonna stop here obviously before we head into Best Boys route, aka Mr. Luke Wright, Mr. Scumbag. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.